Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day of SaberSim's Build Review Show. It is Monday, October 28th, and on this show, I bring users' builds up live on stream, giving them personalized feedback and advice about things that I think they can do different in their builds to help improve their post-contest sim ROIs and ultimately build and submit stronger lineups into their contests. So we do this show Mondays and Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern. The schedule is changing. We are not going to be doing the show Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, as we have done in the past here, but you can still sign up by dropping your DK username in the office hours channel, letting me know what sport and slate you want me to review, and I will add you to the queue for one of those 2 days here. So you can submit your name any day of the week and let me know what date you want, and I will keep track of those things and bring you up on stream when we have our next show. So with that said, we do have 5 people signed up today. It's about as many as we can get through in a day. So we are going to jump right in, have plenty to talk about today. First up is going to be Bill's Nut, and we are going to be studying some NBA main slate from last Friday. So let's get this up on the screen. We have their build pulled up here. Going to jump into the contest tab. So contest selection. So like the mix here, this is good. Could possibly add in a little more single entry and 3 max into this split. Maybe get closer to like $10 to $15 in action and single entries and 3 maxes. Consider doing that. Maybe just putting less entries into this like respawn and one, and then playing like the $1 3 max, $3 single entry, something like that. But either way, contest selection is totally cool. So let's go and study the and one here. Check out these 20 lineups. All right. Let's go to users. And this is our guide, Marsh here. So enter 20 lineups. So we'll go equals to 20, sort by sim ROI. So this is really, really good, right? Highest sim ROIs are like high 60s. And they're up here with the top people, right? 65.14 sim ROI. We see 75%, and then we see 69, and then we see 68, 67, 66, 65. So all in all, they're like a top 15 sim ROIer in this contest. This is exactly where you want to be, and if you keep entering strong lineups like this, you will get rewarded. And so this is exactly where you want to be. I don't see anything wrong with this at all. You can see your average dupes is down, lower than some of these other users. Pretty interesting that dupes is coming into play here, right? This is actually really surprising to me. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe 11 game slate, if I miscounted there. And we see, average dupes 2, average dupes 3, average dupes 4, average dupes 6, average dupes 10. So duplication is really a factor here in NBA, even on large slates, right? So maybe you want to start doing something to take that into account. It's not something I considered before, but it's something I might do now looking at these results, right? So super, super insightful to go through this process, but I think that you're doing the right things. So we'll jump into your build right now. Did want to say, one thing does stand out to me before you even get there. Notice how they have one pre-slate build, and then they have 3 swaps, okay? So just so you guys know, for anybody watching this, you don't need to open up a new swap each time you late swap, right? You can use the same build over and over. So what I would do is just open up one late swap, run my late swap, submit it. Now when I come back to do my next late swap, just come in here and click the refresh icon, and the game times will update. Players whose games have started will become locked and grayed out. And you don't need to go and, reset any rules, reset any filters, reset any max exposures, anything like that if you were doing that. So that's just a little bit for like time saving stuff. So you can use one swap window the entire night. All right, so let's go into a build. All right, so the build loaded. So I believe this is default minimax salary, no filters, no rules, using autofill, using target ROI, One thing I would change here, just really, really small, sort by prize pool. I think that is a better thing to do. Maybe you did this on purpose. I see like your single entries are first and then it's sorted by prize pool after. So you're like, you know what? I want to get the best single entry lineups in first and then do that. That is okay. I'm sure the prize to first is a lot smaller in these $1 single entries, $2 single entries than, the prize to first in the $1.20 max. I would probably still sort by prize pool, even if I was doing a mix of single entries and 20 maxes. So that's my opinion, but that is something I would do. No min or max exposures, minor adjustments to projections, nothing in team stack type. So all in all, I see a pretty hands-off build, trusting contest sims, autofilling, putting a unique lineup into every entry that they have, and then lots and lots. What final thoughts here? This is a great NBA process. If people are watching this and don't know where to start with NBA, this is awesome, right? You could see like how little time this user spends pre-slate dialing these things in, being around for these swaps and grading out super well in their contests. So this is awesome. Good stuff. Bill's nut and keep going. All right. Next up is going to be Trevor. And we're going to be studying some NFL main slate from yesterday. We've had Trevor on the show a couple times. They said they made some updates to their NFL process this weekend based on our past reviews and advice that they've been given. So they wanted some feedback. So I'm pretty excited to check this out. I love helping users, work their way up the sim ROI standings. So let's get this up. And we will let this load. All right. So let's start in the contest tab as always. Contest selection looks good. Like their contest selection a lot here. Very, very strong balance. A lot of lineups, right? 193 entries. Getting a healthy mix. Single entries, 3 maxes, 20 maxes, 100 lineups in the mini max. This is great. All right. So I did see that we were having trouble processing the mini max and the play action. So we're going to go down to the first down here. This one should load. So we'll give this a second. Still a big contest, 178,000 lineups. All right, this loaded here. So let's jump over to users. This is our guy, Lewis. So 20 entries, sorted by sim ROI. All right, so if I recall correctly, it could be a little bit wrong, but I think I'm right. Lewis was probably like 20-30% sim ROI in past reviews that we did, and now they're up to 66%. Right, this is really good. They're moving in the right direction here. Highest sim ROIs in the contest, somewhere above 100%. So they're getting closer, right? They're getting a lot closer. Looks like they actually did okay in the contest, right? Actual ROI 107%, which is nice. Let's see what we can see here. So average dupes of 1, that seems like a little bit of variance here. We see some other users fluctuating a little bit. Most of their lineups were unique, 16 out of 20, so 80%. And sim average score is 133.9. So I believe the biggest thing for them was their sim ROI or their sim average score being low. They've gotten a lot closer, right? They're basically at like 134. If I had to say somewhere you needed to be, probably like 135 to like 140. There's nothing I'm looking at right here that's like, oh wow, this is like really bad. So this is really good, right? Now, we also do see that they did swap multiple times here, right? We see a couple late swaps, so that's good. Very important to late swap at this window here, especially when, it's a pretty healthy split. It was like 8 games in the morning, 5 games in the afternoon. And there were plenty of afternoon games, and they definitely mattered, and you gotta take advantage of those swaps. All right, so let's go to the pre-slate build here. So I'm assuming it's going to be this build 1. Assuming. All right, so couple things. So if you have access to 5,000 lineups, which I'm pretty sure they do, there's no reason to build any less than that. Building 2,999 lineups is probably suboptimal. And the reason for that, right, is because your best lineup is not built first. That would be the way if you were using optimizer mode, where we're building your highest projected lineup and then your second highest and then your third and then your fourth, et cetera, right? Here we are building your lineups and then they get graded after the fact. You run them through the contest sim assigns an ROI. So in theory, your best lineup, your highest sim ROI lineup could be built last, right? So always build the maximum. That's one thing there. If you were going to do anything with minimum salary, I would raise it rather than lower it. Salary and projection are typically correlated. So if your sim average score is a little on the low side, increasing minimum could help with that. So it's possible that lowering it actually hurt it a little bit. So I would leave it at the 48.5 default, or I would increase it to like 49,000. So try one of those two options. No filters, no rules, no lineup filters, unique rank, target ROI. Let's see something. Okay, so this is probably worth mentioning too. If you are using direct fill, now I don't know exactly how you filled this, but I'm just looking at it. We're in direct fill, so I'm assuming you use direct fill. What I would do here is when you're using this target ROI and you have all the contests selected in this dropdown, it is going to average the ROI across all of the contest sims you have. Now we are automatically creating your contest sims based on your entry file. So you're not getting your few lineups in the Millie Maker are not getting the few best lineups for the Millie Maker. They're getting the few best lineups that do the best on average across all of your contest sims. That's a little bit suboptimal, right? So there's two ways to attack that. Number one is indirect fill. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to deselect all of the contests. And then I'm only going to select one of the contests at a time. I'm going to let the sorting metric update. I'm going to save that contest and then come back into this window and then check the next contest only and then go one at a time, right? That's one way to do it. The other way would be to use autofill, where autofill will put the best lineups into a specific contest sorted by that contest without you having to do all of that manual work. So I would either go through them one by one, or I would consider using autofill. Other than that, seeing one minimum exposure, two, just a handful here. I think those are totally fine. They're pretty like low level anyways, getting you closer to like the field. So those seem good. Nothing in defense. Nothing in flex. Nothing in tight end. Good. I just want to make sure there's no minimax exposures in these. Okay, so there's a couple here. So be really careful with these, doing them like in the wide receiver tab. I know, I feel like a lot of people go through these like, okay, I want to look at my wide receivers. I want to look at my running backs. They're clicking these one at a time. So anytime you're going to set minimax exposures, don't do them in these columns or these tabs. Do them in the all tab, because this will apply to all of the players' positional eligibility. So come in here. right click on position. You can go and look at just the wide receivers and then set the minimax exposures in here, right? So I see that, some of them were here, but then you also had like a handful in the wide receiver slot. Move those wide receiver ones to the all tab as well. All right. Other than that, looks like they adjusted projections. I think they might not have done something though. Okay, so here's another thing. When you adjust the projections, I see you have all these team total adjustments, right? Unfortunately, they didn't get taken into account, and I'll tell you why. Because once you apply these, you have to go to the players tab, and then you have to change the source projections. Right now, it's on my projection. You go into this my projection column, you click the gear. It's on SaberSim. This SaberSim adjusted is going to be the set where your team totals get accounted for. So I have to come in here. I have to click on SaberSim adjusted. And then all of your updates to, Atlanta, to Tampa Bay, to whoever. Just that way your team totals get updated correctly. So that's a big one there. But other than that, I think we covered it, right? So just to recap, contest selection looked really good. Sim ROI was really good. Couple of adjustments you could make in the build process, some minimum salary, some max lineups, moving exposures to the all tab, and then going through direct fill one contest at a time or using autofill. You continue to make these small adjustments and you're going to continue to move up those sim ROI standings. So like the steps ahead, and good job so far. All right, we're going to keep it rolling. A quick question from Sammy. Did I miss mine? No, Sammy, you did not miss it. You're going to be actually the last one up today. So we have 5 people total. We're about to hit number 3 here, and I will review yours last. So you're not late. All right, next one up. It's going to be Maverick. And we are going to be reviewing NFL main slate as well for Maverick. So let's go back to yesterday's DK main slate. Get this up on the screen. All right. Build is loading. Let's go to the contest tab. Contest selection looks really good. A lot of low stakes. You see a lot of single entries, see 20 maxes, see 10, 14, 8, stuff all over the place. This looks really good. We see they did a late swap, right? Really important to swap in that afternoon window. So love that. Now let's go and look at the contest with the most entries, which looks like the quarter jukebox here. So let's pull this up. Let these lineups load. Opaka said, love the stream. Thank you. Appreciate it. And just so you know, you are up next. So stay tuned. All right. Results for the quarter jukebox have loaded. Gonna go over to users. Got Brad here. 20 lineups sorted by sim ROI. All right. So highest sim ROIs in this contest. If you're in like the 80 to 90% range, I'd say that's like the top there. Brad, about 50% sim ROI here. So good results, a little bit of room for improvement, but overall strong lineups. You like to see that. Looks like they had 73% actual ROI as well. So decent day. So what do we see? See high average salary, no dupes, which is good. All unique lineups, also good. And we see a 134.91 sim average score. So there's a little slightly low. We said like 135 to 140, so it's on the bottom end there. If they can get up to like 137, they'll honestly be in like a great spot here. So maybe just a couple minor things that they can probably do here, but overall good results. So let's jump into a build. All right. So Brad is on the starter plan. So 500 lineups, minimum and maximum default salaries. I would consider trying to increase this, right? Try taking it from like 48.5 to 49,000. Maybe that gets you that little extra same average score that we're looking for. No filters, no rules, no lineup filters, using autofill, using Saber score, using unique rank. One thing I would probably change here is I would be sorting price by price pool, right? So like it looks like they did all their GPPs and then they did like some like boosts or some micro boosts, some winner take alls, so some like alternate type slates, which is fine. I think it's totally fine to go in here and like do one set. But the one thing I would say is that, when you're using unique rank, right, you're doing a unique lineup into every entry. So once a lineup gets used, it's not going to get used again. And then when you are filling these, we are filling from top to bottom, right? So you should want your top contest or the contest that, is the biggest, or the contest that matters most, the contest, where the prize to first is the biggest, right? You want that at the top. So what I normally come in here and do is come in and sort by prize pool and then click save. That way the best lineups are going into the top contest and they can't be used by a lower prize pool contest first. So we see like this, your highest prize pool contests, which is like the play action, the first down, the mini max. Those are like below the 15K, 30K prize pool contest, which is not what we want. So let's sort by prize pool next time and get those lineups into the bigger contests. We see no minimax exposures in the all tab. Unchecked Javonte from running back. Okay, so this is like probably worth noting, and I'm not sure if they did this on purpose or not, but kind of similar to the last person. So it looks like they unchecked Javonte Williams from the running back spot. Now keep in mind he was in the afternoon window. So I don't know if they were like, you know what? I don't want to play him in a running back position and I only want to play him in the flex because he's from the later games. That's possible. The other option is they're like, you know what? I want to fade Javonte Williams. So I'm going to uncheck him. But then see what happens is because he has flex eligibility, even though he doesn't go into the running back, this user still got 33% of him because the builder just said, okay, that's fine. I still like this player. And they have eligibility in the flex. I'm going to go put him in the flex. So you got to be careful with those. If you meant to completely uncheck him, you got to do it in the all tab. So remember, that's going to be going to all, going to position, going through them here. I can't state it enough. This is the best way to do it. Go through the all tab, go position by position in the position column by right clicking and make all of your adjustments there. Minimax exposures, unchecking players, whatever it is, do it here. All right. Other than that, I think they did a lot of good things here. So to just kind of recap, contest selection was very, very good. Sim ROI is good, and there's some room for improvement, which we talked about, right? That starting with increasing minimum salary, 500, salary dollars, sorting by prize pool in your autofill, and then moving minimax exposures to the all tab, and then doing it by right clicking on position, going position by position. You do those things, I think we're going to see that sim ROI continue to go up. But all in all, good stuff, and keep at it. All right. Another solid one there. Usually the shorter these are, that means the less we have to talk about. That means that the user is usually doing a lot of the right things. So we like when users have high sim ROIs, and we get to use them as examples of what to do. All right. So next one is going to be our man in the chat, Lapaka, and we will get them up on stream right now. So let's go back to yesterday's main slate again for this new user. And we will let this load. Jump over to contests. All right. So first thing I noticed, right, they're building and then they have a late swap. Check, right? Late swapping, very important. Awesome. Next thing, really good contest selection, right? Starting from the ground up, single entry and 3 max blend here. Entering only 20 lineups into the mini max, which is totally cool. Taking one shot at the milli. I get it. I like it. No problems with that at all. So all in all, this is good stuff. Let's go and review their results from the first down. And we will let this load. And we'll give the page a minute here to catch up. All right. So interesting, it says they entered 10 lineups. So it looked like it was 20. I could be wrong. So anytime it's less, you always want to set this greater than or equal to the number of entries that you had. Sort by sim ROI. All right. So if you're in the 100% range, we did one user earlier with this one. I think it was Trevor. If you're in like the 100% range, that's where you want to be. They're at 57% sim ROI. So that's good, right? Nice, strong sim ROI. They had 45% actual in the contest, which is nice. Where can we get better, right? How can we make this number even higher? Average salary is pretty high. 0 average dupes is good. 134.8 sim average score. This could be a little bit higher, right? We've been talking about like 135 to 140 range. If you're in like 137, you're like right in that sweet spot. So a little bit higher here. We'll jump into their build, see what we could see differently, or see what we see and talk about what we think they could do differently. All right, so we see 5K lineups, default min-max salary, no filters, no rules, no lineup filters. Looks like they used autofill, target ROI, sorted by prize pool, which is good. They did use a high number of uniques here, 4. I don't know if that's a good number or not. I'm honestly not sure. What else do we see? Okay, so good news is that they set all of their minimum exposures in the alt tab, right? This is good. This is what we want to see. Now, the only thing I'm a little concerned about is one is like the sheer number of them. You know, there's probably at least like 15 minimum exposures. The other one is that they're kind of high, or not that the exposure set is high, but the impact of them is really high. So like here, you know, you see like David Njoku, 23% ownership. Their minimum exposure is 27%, which doesn't seem like that much. But then the exposure they actually get is 56%, right? And then we see something similar with like Dobbins, or he's at like the exposure is 27, the minimum, and then the actual exposure is 53. We see Tillman coming in at 2x. So I don't know if this is like a builder thing or this is like due to your exposure, but I would just be sure you're comfortable with that much leverage on all these players, because it seems like you were just trying to get closer to the field where you're like, hey, you know, I want to, you know, play these players like at a similar rate as the field is playing them, but then you're getting like 2x plus leverage on a number of these guys. I just want to make sure that is like by design kind of a little bit, or like that maybe you used autofill and then came back and looked at that and made sure you were okay with it. So just be sure, with some of these things with autofill, you're not going to be able to review the exposures until after. If you're trying to set an adjustment to be closer to the field, maybe just go like slightly under, right, rather than over. So like for these like 22, 23% guys, if you set it to like 18, 20, it might be a little bit better than going over by like 5%. So keep that in mind. That's something just to be aware of. But with autofill, you got to save first, right? And then come into the player table, sort by exposure, and then view this. And then if you don't like what you're seeing, then first what I would do is I would go to saved, and I would put these lineups back into the pool with this little remove all lineups from saved. Because I'm almost positive, since this is unique rank, it will not reuse those lineups. And let's just let this load. Okay, back to the contest screen. Great. So that's the only thing I would be a little bit worried about. It's possible that the builder just liked these players and just got to a lot of them on its own, And I mean, these players seem to do fine. So, Cedric Tillman, wow, like crushed. So he was a nice one to have, but especially at 3,300 salary. So it's possible that the builder just identified these plays the same way you did, that were like, hey, these are good plays, and the builder just got over on them. But something to be aware of, right? The good news is that they did do this in the all tab. Nothing in team stacks, nothing in game stacks, nothing in stack exposures. Some minimum exposures for a couple quarterbacks. Okay, so they did make some running back minimum exposures. So again, I would say here, move these ones in the tight end, in the wide receiver, in the running back to strictly the all tab. Do not set any in these positional ones and just move them over to all, but that'll help a lot. And you don't have to double set them, right? So if like you set like Njoku in tight end, you don't also need to set Njoku in flex. It'll just be, if you do the all, it'll count for all their positional eligibility. But overall, seeing a lot of good stuff. I think some of the changes with minimax exposures might actually help the builder to get to some better lineups, with it not being tied to playing a player in a specific position. Might also help it, right? Because you're giving the builder less availability to kind of shift pieces around as it needs to like build stronger lineups, as opposed to like locking them into one position. So that could be one thing. Lepaka said, I don't have to double set it. No, you do not. Yeah, you definitely do not have to double set it. So don't do that. But all in all, good stuff. Moving in the right direction here. Saw a lot of good things here. And I hope that, you take some of these things away, use it on future slates, and continue to improve your results. So good job. All right. We got one more today, and that is going to be Sammy here. And Sammy, we are not going to be studying the main slate. We are going to be studying the Sunday Night Football Showdown. So Sammy has been trying to get better at Showdown. We've been doing a lot of their Showdown reviews, usually like after Monday or after Thursday. And, now we're doing Sunday night too. So love that. Just focusing on one game type, right? Trying to get better at one specific format and playing it again and again, reviewing it again and again is the right way to go about it. Sammy said, how come when unchecking under the flex and moving the tabs, they will get checked back on? If you're seeing that, that's kind of weird. That shouldn't happen. If you uncheck them from the flex, they can still be used in like the wide receiver or something like that, but they shouldn't be getting unchecked. So if you're seeing that, go into the build and report a problem and let us know what you're seeing, and that'll give our team more information that we need to better identify what's going on, and we can get back to you there. All right. So Sammy just played one contest. And we're letting this time load. All right. Contest is up now. So let's go to users. All right. 20 lineups. Sort by sim ROI. So Sammy's about 13% sim ROI in this contest. You know, if you're in like the 60% plus range, you're like toward the top, and I really wouldn't change anything. Huge thing standing out to me right off the bat is that Sammy's sim average score is 86, and a lot of the top users are like 94 to 100. So it seems like he sacrificed a lot of sim average score here. Some of these are trains for sure, like this 319 dupes, people just jamming the same lineup. So I don't know what a good average dupes is. We'll do like average dupes less than 100, maybe might help. And okay, this brings down the average sim ROIs probably closer to like 50 to 60% range. If you're in like 50 to 60%, you're at the top. So about 15% sim ROI is not bad, but we're still sacrificing a lot of projection. So let's go and figure out why. Let's go into this build. All right. So 45K minimum, 49.6 maximum. We see a filter just to hide players who aren't playing. See a couple rules. Okay, we see a geo mean rule. So here's one thing. You know, if you want to account for geo mean, but you're on like starter or pro, and a rule is the only option you have available to you. Actually, I think the old pro has custom metrics. But if rule is your only option, then use it. If you have access to custom metrics, I would rather do a filter than do a rule. So you know, this can lead to like lower sim average score lineups on average, right? So I would rather just let the builder build what it wants and then filter it down from there, right? You have 5,000 lineups. You only need 20. So it's okay to get rid of, you know, 20% of your lineups, which is like 1,000, and you still have 4,000 to get your 20 from, right? So I actually think the geo mean rule is probably what is bringing your sim average score down so much. So I would stop using that, and then I would go and set up a custom metric, which you have, and then just filter for that after, right? And you can come in here, geo mean, hide lineups with geo mean greater than X is one way to do it. Then the other way is, you know, show lineups with geo mean less than X, whatever way makes sense to you. So I would much rather see you be using this lineup filter than the rule. I think uniques of 2 is fine. I think a unique lineup, well, it's only one contest. Direct fill makes sense too, because it's only one contest. Okay, some minor projection adjustments with one big stand, which is okay. You know, out of all weeks to take a stand on a situation like this, this is the right week, right? It's like their first week without Ayuk. You know, Kittle and Debo kind of hurt all week. You think Pearsall's going to step up. So totally okay. Toned it down on the minimax exposures. Usually Sammy, somebody who's coming in here using a lot of minimax exposures, decided to do something a little bit different, which is totally okay. And that's it. So all in all, I think the biggest takeaway here is to switch from using the filter, the geo mean rule, to using the geo mean lineup filter. You do that, I think that's going to help your sim average score a lot. And I think that is going to improve your post-contest sim ROI a lot. And reminder that you're already positive, and you know, you can only go up from there, right? So I think you're on the right track. I think you're getting a lot closer and closer. So make that one change. All right. That was our last user. We hit 5 users today. And as a reminder, the build review show will be back on Friday of this week. We are not going to do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. starting this week, we're just going to do Mondays and Fridays and get people reviews after the weekend, get some people some reviews heading into the weekend, and stay on that schedule. But if you ever want to sign up, you guys can sign up anytime. Let me know in the Discord. I will log it and keep track and add you to the next show. So appreciate you guys tuning in. I will see you all tomorrow for office hours. And until then, take care. Good luck. Thanks. Bye.